to the 0 people. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the first episode of...
Dude, you are not the leader of this.
Sorry, you got it.
Yeah, I do the intro. You know what? You better get your round table, because it's nighttime. Episode number 1. The format, I even have this in our notes. I want it to be a shitty joke or question, and then the answer being a play on nighttime. And I'm happy that worked out. I've came up with like 8 throughout the day. They're pretty awful. And I have a ton of them.
Anything good.
I mean, it doesn't have to be good. It just has to work, right?
There has to be better ones, though. You know,
there's nothing. There's never anything better than what I can come up with, and we'll learn that today. With me, I am Eki. You are hearing my voice, and maybe at some point in the future, you'll be hearing my voice and face with your eyes. And with me, of course, is Claps. And
Professor.
Our special guest, TFX.
Yo, what's up?
Hello. You're a musician, are you not?
I am a musician. That is correct.
Give these many, many, many millions of viewers and listeners and such an introduction into the life of who you are.
Oh, God.
And what you do. Why are you here?
Why am I here?
That's a great question, right?
Yeah, I don't know. So I am a budding video game musician, you might say.
I wouldn't personally, but go
yeah,
ahead.
in the game space. Sorry, yeah. I don't know. I contribute to a decent amount of game jams when I'm not sad, which is some of the time. And then I also do a lot of stuff in like the demo scene, which is kind of like games, except you don't have the joy of playing them; you just watch them.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. That's great. Well, welcome
Awesome.
to Nighttime. This is episode number 1. So if you suck as a guest, everything in the future moving forward, it's all because of you, because you were the one who kind of set the precedent.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
What I like. You gotta be the first person to present, because literally, like, you could be the shittiest presenter ever, and you're still gonna get that C.
That's true, because you are establishing the average, and everyone else after you is either before or better, but nobody went before you, so therefore you can't be the worst or the best.
Excellent.
Nice. And I mean, being average is what we're all about here. I'm pretty excited. Claps, people probably may know you a little bit more, but go ahead and give yourself an intro as well.
Yeah, I can do that. Hello, everybody. I am Professor Claps. All right, there's a professor there. I teach people things.
Okay, well, what gives you, like, what sort of documentation or certification do you have to show that you are a professor of Claps?
All right, so just join in any of our like monthly in-house League of Legends games and meet me on the Rift, and you'll find out.
All right, Claps. Professor Claps, sorry. Give us a little bit of insight into the life of the Professor Claps.
For sure. So in this Discord, people know me as the guy who started the Metaphysics roster team, but we were sponsored by Knightmare Games, and then after that, I was like, hey, Eki, let's just merge everything that's Knightmare Games into one Discord. And so basically, I'm kind of like the community manager here. We run a lot of I run a lot of like events and stuff like that. I don't know what else you want to say.
What events have you ran so far?
Yeah, so we've done in-houses. We did a $50 Riot Point giveaway a while back. That was pretty fun.
Eek.
Who we're gonna be doing more stuff as well.
Who funded?
Yeah, fuck that. That's only like 2 skins, like 1 prestige skin.
Yeah, it's like not even it. I'm gonna have to apologize. There's going to be one of the worst noises you'll ever hear in your life occasionally showing up behind me, and hopefully at some point in the future that won't happen, and that will probably be after I'm dead from suicide.
It will literally always happen.
It literally always happen every single time. Every single time, regardless.
The good news is, though, the lifespan of dogs is usually only between 10 to 15 years.
Yeah, and what's the lifespan of a podcast?
Oh god, you're right. We might be screwed.
That's right. Well, I'm Eki. If you guys don't know me, I am the founder of Knightmare Games. My shitty and ugly face and voice are stamped all over pretty much anything Knightmare Games that you haven't heard of, such as Spark, or Last Call for Alcohol, which is currently on Kickstarter, Spark 2, which is in development, and then I also try to participate in the community events that we are hopefully getting better at some point in the future. If you enjoy any of our content, I encourage you to follow us on all of our different social medias, twitch.tv/Ekiyako for this podcast. If you're listening on YouTube, or if we figure out how to get audio onto some sort of podcasting network or something like that, I'll have to figure it out. But at first, YouTube, if you want to see us live, twitch.tv/Ekiyako. Our Twitter is @PlayNightmare. My personal one is @Ekiyakov. Pretty much, you can search Ekiyakov on anything, and you will probably find some weird stuff of me online. But the way we want to format this bad boy is we're going to start off with giving you guys a little bit of an insight into what we are doing at Knightmare Games this week. It's going to be a weekly podcast. And that's going to suck. That's going to be super boring for you, but maybe not. So we'll do that first, and then we'll go into things a little bit more generalized. We'll go more generalized as we proceed through this, starting with Knightmare Games stuff, and then upcoming gaming community events or notable things maybe that happened to any of the people in the community. Events that happened before. We might swap those up. I don't know the logistics behind this. Do you think it makes more logical sense to do recent events and then upcoming events, or upcoming events and then things that already happened?
Yeah, let's do a quick recap of just what's happening. What we've done. Actually, let's just talk about 2019, because this is the first time we've done this, and people probably don't know. The biggest thing would be GDC.
Yeah, Game Developers Conference in San Francisco. So this was GDC 2019. This is the first time we've ever gone as exhibitors, and it was awesome. Professor Claps built a arcade machine. We put a demo for Spark 2 in it, and people seem to really enjoy it.
Yeah, it was great just seeing people come to our booth playing the games. Also, Last Call for Alcohol drew a lot of attention. The Kickstarter for that's live right now. If you're interested, I'm sure we can get some links for that in the chat.
Yeah, well, everyone who's already knows and can't contribute because they're poor or college kids or not great at being supportive of our community. I have an adorable puppy to my left, and his face is underneath the glass, and he's licking it. So,
well, Eki, I have a dog underneath my feet as well, and she's adorable.
Well, there you go. What about you, TFX?
I have no pets because
Okay.
I prefer to be sad by myself.
Right. You could make humans your pets, potentially. And the unexpected guest arrival of Sanea.
Are you filming?
I'm live and we're
hi.
recording.
Hi.
Oh my God, Sanea.
We're also kind of recording, but we don't have video. All I have is this little thing
Cool.
right here. But it will go to YouTube.
Sanea, stop being so annoying.
Jake?
He says, "Stop being so annoying." I have
Jake,
the
fuck
big head. Hey, you just doxed him. You can't say his real name on. See,
Oh
now
my God.
he's gonna get.
He said my real name.
No, that's your made up name. Nobody's gonna believe that's your real name.
Sorry, my bad. Dude.
Yeah, how do you spell it, huh? Nobody knows that.
Yeah, nobody knows how to spell it. But
It's like banana, but with an S.
You
Who's in
can,
the stream?
it's me, Professor Claps, and TFX, the one who did the music for The Devil's Cabbage.
Oh, cool.
Oh, cool indeed.
Thank you.
Well, all right.
I'm gonna text you when I'm done.
Okay.
Bye. What's his name?
Claps?
Yeah.
Professor Claps?
Bye, Professor Clap.
Oh, yeah.
All right, goodbye, Sinena.
We can edit that part out.
Yeah. If I hear her voice one more time, I'm gonna kill myself.
Oh, man. There's been what? So we're 10 minutes probably into the stream, first episode, and we've made 3 or 4 references to suicide already. So I feel like we're on good track to meet the quota, the monthly quota of like 28.
That's like average podcasting. Like,
yeah, I don't listen to a lot. I listen to
We're just fitting in.
Sleepy Cast, which was I don't know if you guys are aware of like the people who made the cartoons Leo and Satan.
oh shit.
Yeah, they did Sleepy Cast for a while, or Sleepy Cabin, I believe, is maybe what they like formed their group to be, and then they did Sleepy Cast, which was their podcast, and it was fucking hilarious. Those guys are funny as shit, and the podcast wasn't even like supposed to be a comedy podcast. It was just like 6 goofy dudes talking about literally whatever and like sharing stories throughout their life. And I highly recommend it. It's one of the best podcasts. One of the only ones I've ever listened to. But also, if you've only listened to 3, it's gonna be on the top 3 no matter what. But I recommend that.
That's
maybe
a really good point.
maybe ours will be up there at some point too. But I doubt it. Let's see. Where were we? We were talking about Knightmare Games stuff. We went to Game Developers Conference. We brought an arcade box with Spark 2 demo there to update people. There are plans to create a Spark 2 Steam page and create a little bit more fleshed out of a demo. I feel like the gameplay we brought to Game Developers Conference kind of dropped the player in the middle and just let them go at like a medium difficulty. And I think it might be ideal for a demo to for Spark 2 on Steam when we get that far, which honestly doesn't seem that far away. We'd want to start kind of at the beginning, like introduce them to the combo mechanics and do things like that. So be on the lookout for that. It was a great demo though. And like I've had the arcade machine up in the living room of my house. And when people have came over and asked about it or wanted to play or something like that, they've really enjoyed it. And I think a thing that is a better testament to how Spark 2 is compared to Spark 1 is when people die in Spark 2 or die currently in the demo, they always hit the button to like reset like immediately. We saw that a ton at GDC, and it's still happening now. So I think we found the formula. We just need to like build the game, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, and one thing we did at GDC, so our original demo had all 3 of the color combos. We had red, green, and yellow in there, but it was kind of hard to tell like what was enemy bullets and like what's good, what's bad, what do I shoot, what do I avoid, and so we changed everything to blue. But Eki, I think if you're right. We were throwing everybody in the middle there, but if we have a proper period where we're introducing people to the game and its mechanics, we can probably reintegrate those different colors.
Yeah,
what do you think about that?
It's possible. I mean, I don't want to go too deep down the rabbit hole of like what we could possibly design. But I will, because this will be interesting for people, is the reasoning behind why we changed it to blue and kind of the pros and cons of that. So we went to only blue because originally we had 4 different power levels that you could shoot. Like you were producing something, and we needed to have a way to distinguish like what you were producing and the power level of the sparks that you were shooting. So the red one was obviously the fattest, the slowest, and the most powerful, and then the blue one's your most basic one. But now that all the player has control over is the blue one, they don't need as much of a visual connectivity between like what power is there, and honestly they might not even care. So we swapped it over to blue, and we saw like pretty good results immediately with like clarity within the game, and being able to the players being able to logically make the connection that like I'm shooting blue is okay. Like I can touch that, I can shoot it. I don't think that we've nailed quite getting people to comprehend the combo system, but I also think that's because in the current demo they're so thrown in that it's tough for them to focus. But if it's introduced to them in a reasonable manner, like we would if we designed it out progressively, I think that the combo system would make sense. And I'm not sure if adding extra colors is going to give us any benefit like we had in Spark 1.
Mm. Yeah, and Spark 2 is a completely different like game. So I mean, really it'd be partly because of the continuity and like story from Spark 1 to Spark 2. Because I mean, we had multiple Sparks in Spark 1, but they were taken by the enemies.
Yes.
And so now they have them in Spark 2.
Yep. So now they're like programmatic, and when I think of like the enemies are so bright and like vibrant and noticeable, and I think it meshes better with the story if we give them only, or if they're dropping only these really light kind of dull blue, because that makes it seem more foreign to the enemies than it should. So like thematically,
yeah,
it makes
maybe
a lot more sense.
they've like corrupted the sparks or something.
Exactly, yeah. So they're less like
cool.
they can't possess them, because if they did, maybe in Spark 3, when you lose once again as the protagonist, maybe they'll be like big and bright, and the enemy shoots sparks, and you don't even shoot anything. You just get shit on the entire time.
Yeah.
Sounds super fun. And that was dope. So do you know much about GDC TFX?
I know a decent amount about the conference, and I was actually thinking of maybe attending it someday. But mainly, I just listen to like all of the like the GDC Vault or whatever, like on repeat at work.
Yeah, GDC Vault, for those of you who do not know, like there are tons of talks and seminars at Game Developers Conference that we didn't attend. We just attended the expo portion, but they record almost every single one of them, if not every one of them, and offer a lot of them free to watch online. And so if there are so many different subjects, and a lot of them are really beneficial in terms of game design and just kind of absorbing knowledge from people who have done something before. So if you are listening to this thinking like, oh, I like hearing what game designers are thinking about, or what they're talking about, how they're getting involved, GDC Vault is a phenomenal way to just put, like you said, you can put it on in the background and just absorb knowledge and gain knowledge through other people's experiences in these talks.
Yeah, the same thing works. If you have like a book you're trying to study or anything, you can literally just lay your head on it and sleep on it.
It's osmosis.
Yeah, knowledge.
I've done this before.
Yeah. I think I've seen that too. And if the book is printed fresh enough, you can actually get it imprinted on your skin. Not permanently, but for a while. So make sure to go to your local press and see what you can do with your face.
That's how temporary tattoos are made.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Next thing on the docket for Knightmare Games is, and this is Spark 2 related, is we're actually working with a 2D artist right now. And she seems like she's going to be a good fit for the team, and maybe who we go with for the 2D artist progressing into the future, which is exciting for you as a potential player of Spark 2, because that means you don't get my shitty ass art in your game. You want a real artist's art in there. And working with her has been great so far. We're working on essentially tattoos or like decorations for the enemies. People who have done art for me know that I like to programmatically build characters in the game. Maybe one day I'll do like a tutorial series on YouTube on how to do this specifically, but in pretty much every engine, you can take a sprite and then color it or shade it however you want programmatically with code. And this is kind of the same thing. So we're taking a bunch of modules, bunch of pieces, and building them all together using code in order to draw the enemy. And these are going to be like cosmetic effects. Fuck that thing. Cosmetic effect. I'm gonna like shut the door and do something. I don't know. These are cosmetic things on top of the enemies currently to give them a little bit more life, a little bit more animation, a little bit more style. So these are going to look more like circuitry, just more passive animations to just give the enemies more life. I think in Spark 1, there were many issues with the art, but one of the big ones is that they didn't really feel dynamic, and we're addressing that now with this current task of being able to modularly add these cool little like add-ons or like tattoos or like little decorations on top of each one of these enemies, and we'll be able to code different colors and speeds and do really cool things like that. So that way you get the procedurally generated, colorful, bright, awesome enemies that you're used to, but now with more detail and hopefully better looking in general.
Hopefully,
yeah,
maybe.
But take it over on the community side. We want to get people. This is stuff that, like, I mean, you could help if you're listening to this and you're like, how do I get involved? Like, that's pretty like internal Knightmare Games stuff. That's like me making a decision and going and coding it in. And most people can't really get involved with that. But what they can get involved with are these community events that you're planning.
Exactly. So what we're going to be doing, we've kind of been trying to figure out how to expand our community, how to get more involved, and we've come up with a game plan for expanding everything. And it's going to involve events, giveaways, and a lot of new people hopefully joining. So if you've been here for a while, you know that we have a lot of League of Legends players in here, and so we're going to be hosting in-houses, obviously. And then along with those, we're going to plan a point system. And so what that point system is like, if you participate in one of our events, you get 1 point. If you win, you get a point. And then you can redeem those points in a merch store that we're going to make for like merchandise.
Yeah,
Knightmare
maybe
Games merchandise.
And not only merchandise, but also we have the possibilities of doing a lot more with that. So I'm thinking about, we haven't talked about it, but might as well bring it up in a scenario where everyone gets to hear your initial reaction. But I just want to call it currency. That's it. Not a clever name. I just want to call it currency. Knightmare Games
pun.
Knightmare Games currency. I looked up the currencies that were used in the times of the knights and such, and they literally just used the pound and shillings and pence. Like, that was their distinction. It's so boring, and so we could do like
some sovereigns in there. You get some forints, dude. You get your freaking zloty in there, man.
I mean, but they're not like traditional knights in the way I'm thinking about it. It seems like English.
Oh yeah,
you know.
We should call them Quetzals. Knightmare Quetzals.
Nightmare Quetzals. No,
yeah,
I like currency.
The currency in Guatemala is the Quetzal.
Nice. Yeah, so the Guatemalan knights of the 1300s would probably really appreciate that, but I don't know. Doesn't matter what we end up calling it. The point is, it's going to be more than just merch. I think we'll end up, if the community is big and people end up liking it, we can use this currency to maybe do currency-only events, like tournaments. We could spend 10 of these to potentially win more. So you can like gamble away your currency to win more. You can use it to get into beta testing of this. You can get some merch. You can get signed Snapchat videos from Professor Claps. I don't know. Whatever you want. I won't
Snapchat.
Yeah, I don't want to whore you up that much. But the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting, and there's just going to be people hoarding them, and then 2 years down the road, they're going to try to like exchange 500 of them for just cash or something.
For one snood.
Hey, didn't you have like schmeckles or something in your Twitch chat a while ago?
I had Eccles.
Eccles.
Yes.
Eccles, that's what they are.
Yeah,
I remember those.
I don't think that applies well here. I was thinking we could just go with something generic as hell. Like, currency is literally the most generic thing I could think of, but gold was kind of my second thing, or silver.
I like gold.
Gold, yeah, like Knightmare Games
pieces.
gold. Yeah, like gold is a very it's not new or innovative, but it gets the point across. And I think we might do that. We'll decide the naming. If you are listening to this and you care about the name, drop it in whatever sort of comment or forum or chat or whatever you can get it in. I promise I'll get my eyes on it and ignore it completely.
That sounds really good.
That sounds really good. What sort of events can people be expecting? Like, what if, I know we're pretty much all League players, and you mentioned that you were like a League team guy earlier, but
so we have a lot of League players, but we're gonna diversify a lot more. What I want to do is have maybe like a monthly just game night, spelled with a K, obviously.
of course.
Where we don't just play League of Legends, we'll play other multiplayer games like Halo Combat Evolved or like Modern Warfare 2 on Steam.
Did you
or, I
literally
don't know,
say
like
Halo
Risk of-
Combat Evolved rather
Yeah,
than
I
just
did.
Halo?
Well, you can't get confused because Halo Combat Evolved is like the classic PC Halo game.
Sure. Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, that's what people played in their computer labs in high school.
You didn't. You would have been in what?
No, I did.
5th grade?
No, I definitely played it.
In
I
high
was the
school?
president
That
of
would
the
have been out.
technology
It would have
club.
been out for like 10 years.
Yeah, we
Okay.
had like I guess like a cracked version where it was just like an exe and you could drag it to whatever computer you wanted and just run it. And
Right.
we went through the trouble of getting Halo Combat Evolved into every computer in the high school computer labs. And then Tech Club would host LAN parties, and we'd have those things full of high school kids killing each other in Halo.
Nice.
That's fucking awesome. There
It
was,
was so much
Diablo
fun.
2 on the school share drive where I used to go to. Some good shit.
Yeah. Good times. But point being, we just want to have more multiplayer games to get people involved in. Maybe if there's like a kick-ass Steam sale where something's on sale for like $2 and you can get like 10 people in there, we can try that out.
Oh, hey, that leads me to something that we don't have on the list, but is something that me and you were talking about. But we want to get more involved in playing other indie games, and obviously we don't have like a good enough community that us playing your game is going to give you like more people, more followers, more potential revenue or income later on. Maybe a little bit. I mean, because some is better than none. But
Too.
just having someone else who isn't yourself play your game and watch them play it, listen to what they say, and give a little bit of feedback. These are for indie games that are recent released or still in development. It can be super early on in the concept phase, as long as there's like something that we can play. Claps is going to kind of head that, but we want to try to play a few of those a week, so that way there's a little section in this podcast where we can go into a little bit what we liked, what we didn't like with these games.
We want to
and
get
then kind of
feedback.
back and forth. We want to give feedback, so that way when we ask for it, we don't feel like needy cunts.
This isn't a one-sided relationship. We like to give back.
How many podcasts do you think say cunts?
Well, at least this one.
Okay, cool.
At least one.
All right. I think we lost. Hold on. Let me check the viewership.
I mean,
Yes, it's gone. It's gone.
If we care about our Discord and like our name being PG,
We
and, like,
don't.
pure.
We definitely don't.
We definitely need to clean out our Discord a bit.
No way. Hopefully, at some point, I'll have to. I met a lawyer friend at GDC, and maybe I'll have to talk to him about what sort of legal implications we have by having minors come into our Discord or people unsuspectingly coming in and hearing us throw around a bunch of cuss words. But if you've been around our community at all or just joining us, I will tell you straight up, there is a lot of weird fucking bullshit that goes on, and a lot of cussing, a lot of interesting ideas. And so if that's not for you, that's not for you. But if it is for you, we're for you.
All right. Do you know what we just did there, Eki? We just went up to a hot girl at the bar, asked her out, and then said, "Also, I'm really weird, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I just do goofy shit. I call people cunts, and like
Yeah.
kids should not be around me."
Yeah, you literally walked up to, like, you gave it a shot. You walked up to the hot girl at the bar. You were like, "Hey, what's up? My name's Eki. You wanna?
kids.
Can I get no? Can I get you a drink?" And she's into it. She's listening. She's there. And then you're like, "All right, cool. Well, also, I still love my ex. My mom is the only one that's ever found me sexually attractive, and I only wear black clothes." It's like, you cool with that? No, you're not. You've already, all right. You've walked
Oh,
away.
darn
Okay,
it.
cool. Shoot.
Thought I had her.
But maybe not the best approach for successfully picking up a lot of women, but the ones that you do pick up are going to be ones that are very compatible with you. So it's not a many fish approach, but more like the good fish approach.
Exactly. But I mean, how many good fish are going to be at those bars that you're going to, you know?
You know, that's a great question, and we are yet to find out. But the good fish, maybe they'll come from YouTube, maybe they'll come from Spotify. Who knows where the good fish will come from?
The Spotify
in my opinion,
good fish coming to our game.
this is episode number 1, and I will say it for the record. I don't think anyone's gonna give a shit. I think we're gonna get seven listens on this, and it's gonna be me accidentally pressing play on it when it's in my like queue. I'm gonna go to YouTube dashboard and I'm gonna accidentally press play on it and be like, ah, crap, and then like exit out of it because I don't want to hear my own voice. And then on the dashboard it will say like 1 view for like 1 second. So our average like listening time is gonna be terrible. And our bounce rate is going to be at about 100%. But it doesn't matter because even as I'm talking about it, there's 2 ways that it goes. 1, I talk about it now and it goes that way so nobody hears it and nobody cares. Or 2, people do hear it and I said it and it's not going that way and I'm wrong and that's okay. So it's a win-win, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, another alternative. I mean, whoever's listening, if you want to just pop open YouTube whenever this thing's online and just hit the refresh page on this video a couple dozen times, you know, get inflate those viewership numbers a bit.
I don't think that does anything.
It used to. It definitely used to.
I feel like
you gotta like open it in like Incognito.
Yeah,
like,
maybe.
refresh it.
Yeah.
I'm used to
You
that.
like clear your freaking cookie.
I think it's Control-Shift-N for Chrome users. Let me try that.
Hold
It
F4.
is Control-Shift-N. If you guys are ever trying to incognitally browse a little bit faster, that's your shortcut key.
Yeah,
Today
and if you need to get
today you
out of
learned.
it even quicker, you can
Alt
Alt
F4.
F4.
Yep. I wish I could do that in life sometimes. Boom! 4 references. Let's go. So we went through the events, kind of giveaways, and what is our goal of like these events and of this podcast and all of that?
Well, I mean, the people who are in here right now are the people we know, right?
Yeah, I think it's Mike and like
Who's on? I talk
Uzan,
to that guy
and
regularly.
then us 3. Yeah.
Yeah, and basically, like, the people who you get involved with are the people who stick around and actually care. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to get involved with community, get people like playing together and like actually, I don't know, make friends with these people. And then, God, I can't believe I said that.
Gross.
Jesus.
Sounds
And then,
terrible.
I mean, once they realize that we're like reaching out to them and we're just, you know, guys who like to make video games and do stuff like this, then they'll be more interested in like paying attention and helping out.
Hopefully. I mean, that's the goal. And what TFX, what do you think the goal is of us bringing on guests as a guest?
Oh man, as a guest, like, you know, probably the same thing. You gotta get the opinions of other people up here from the community. You know, get to know the people that are around beyond just like the freaking make shit for my game.
Uh-huh. And what's the benefit for you? What compelled you to do this tonight?
I don't have anything better to do.
That's right, and that's pretty much where
Hell yeah.
we've all found our lives. We don't have anything better to do, so we're here. And even if we did, we wouldn't, because we can't. We're not good at things. We're gonna keep going. Upcoming events. Let's see. Game Maker 48 is starting midnight Friday night. So if you are trying to participate in a game jam, this one is specifically for Game Maker Studio. If you're unaware, we use Game Maker Studio for all of our previous jams, Spark, and we'll be using it for Spark 2.
This is going to be the one, Eki.
This is the one
This is
that
gonna be
we
top
win.
10, all right?
Yeah,
Mike, this is when you were asking what we were doing next. This is it.
This is it. But actually, I'm not sure if I'm going to participate in it yet or not. It's a 48-hour jam, so it's one of the more difficult ones. We tried Regress last time. I think that was for Game Maker 48.
Oh,
And
God, yeah.
that was fantastic. That one's gonna be winning some awards this year.
Just
probably.
resubmit it.
Yeah, just resubmit that. God damn. That was fine. I think I have like PTSD or something with it because it runs through my mind occasionally, and I'm always like, well, what could I like? Obviously, I know what I could have done better to like submit a real game, but I also just think of like minor tweaks to make it a better game, and I can never really get a good like I can do better, but I can't get good game out of it. Like there's a good idea in there. I just can't pull it out. I can't pull it.
Yeah, and I think part of that was, I mean, we changed our mind a lot going through that. In previous game jams, we've always just like figured out exactly what we're going to do that night, written down our idea and stuck to it. But I think with Regress, we had a lot of like changes throughout the idea, right?
Honestly, I have no fucking clue. I don't remember. I've tried.
That was a year ago, wasn't it?
I have tried.
Was that a year ago?
I feel like it's been a while. We haven't done a game. That was the last
Like
game jam we
September, I
did.
think.
Yeah, I don't think it was a
it was
year
September.
ago. That was like half a year ago.
No, it was definitely before I moved out to Colorado, though.
Yeah, hold on. Let me go to nightmaregames.itch.io and look at
Click on that
Regress.
motherfucking Plumbo link.
Yeah, dude,
Plumbo's
Plumbo.
the game.
Okay, let me go off on a slight tangent there. Plumbo. Let's look at these analytics here. Plumbo has, let's see, 956 views on the itch page, 56 downloads. It's been added to 13 collections and has 2 ratings. Compared to Spark, our commercial product, has 544 views. It does have way more downloads. It has 233 downloads, 2 ratings, and 1 collection. Plumbo, which is literally, it was our second game jam, and in my opinion, one of the worst ones we've done, just topping the charts all the time. Like every time I log in, look at this. So this is analytics for the past, you guys can't see it, but I'll just say it out loud. The past month, there was 1 download on Enemy Build, 2 downloads on Enemy Builder, which is weird to me, 4 downloads on Plumbo in the past month, and there was 22 views on Plumbo, and the rest of them combined for 16. So Plumbo gets more views than literally the rest of all of the other games that we have on itch. And some of them are really good. Like The Jungle. Actually, that one's not that good. Devil's Cabbage is solid. Celestial Stonewall is good. Is like, I don't know. It's weird how much people like Plumbo.
Plumbo has really good progression, though. I mean, there's a defined start difficulty and then like an end difficulty.
It is. I think it's the only game jam, actually probably the only game that I've ever designed that actually is linear. Like it starts with the beginning and then progresses forward, and obviously it's not a full game, so you never get to an end, but you do go from like level 1 to level 7 or something like that, and it feels like it's getting more difficult. And I feel like the rest of the games that we've made, well, Devil's Cabbage does that too, but doesn't have as much substance as Plumbo, I think, because it's it was technologically more difficult to create. So I think the Devil's Cabbage would have gotten there with a little bit more time, but didn't. But the progression and stuff, well, I'm more of an arcade guy. Like, play this until you die. You died. It's not like a
restart.
I don't like rewarding people for beating levels for some reason. I just like getting them
Just
to
like
play
punishing people.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even like rewarding them.
I don't. I really don't. And I mean, I'm punishing you guys right now, making you take an hour or so of your time out of your day. Like, I even I told TFX, I was like, and you, I was like, yeah, show up at 6:15. We'll talk about it beforehand. We'll start it at 6:30, or whatever time zone you're in. And then I literally get home from work past when like it was supposed to start. So I'm just holding everyone hostage and making them do my bidding, and I'm not sure if it's something that I keep at the forethought, but it is something that I do apparently all the time, which is good or not, depending on which one of the subjects I am. But Game Maker 48 starts Friday night. If you're involved in game jams or want to be involved with game jams, go to our Discord and we can help you out. Even if I'm not participating, I'm always down to like do brainstorming sessions. I'm sure a bunch of people will be.
Eki, what's holding you back on this one?
I have real life commitments.
Ah,
Not many. So I have golf lessons on Saturday afternoon. I am anticipating having to go to some sort of familial event on Sunday night. And Friday, oh, well, this one's not as impactful, but I'm going to like a focus group. I was selected to be part of a focus group for a new like gaming tournament platform. And I like to be influential on those things, especially with all my experience in like Attack Online and how they did and didn't succeed. I think this thing's trying to be something very similar, so I'll have good insight to give back to them. But I'm doing that Friday night, and so I'm anticipating being too busy. But if I wake up Saturday, and the theme is good, and I have an idea for it, I may try to go ham. And
I mean,
I just don't want to commit.
yeah, I mean, if you don't commit though, then like nobody. I mean, I don't know who else here is gonna like really commit.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm almost thinking about doing it solo.
Really?
Yeah, except for the music, which I would get my boy TFX to get it. No, I'm just kidding. But
Yo,
I would ask somebody. I would be like, hey, does somebody want to do music? And if they don't, like, if somebody's available to do music, like, if I end up doing it and somebody's available to do music this weekend, then that's ideal. But if not, there's a ton of like open game music resources. I just find something that kind of fits and like throw some sound effects in. Not a big deal.
Yeah,
I've done it
makes
before,
sense.
or I could acapella it, you know.
Although like group
like
jams, team
Right.
jams are a lot of fun. As
They
well.
really are.
And, I
That's,
mean, if you wanted to, like, I have enough Game Maker Studio knowledge to like do some things.
I doubt it. But go ahead.
But if you were also involved, then like the team can still work while you're not there, and then you can come back and do the essential things. Like you'll have help this time, you know.
Yeah, I think Regress was fully failed by me. So having me as the anchor point for
Is it called
your
PTSD?
for your project may not be the best thing. Like maybe it's the PTSD, but this might be a subconscious consideration. I failed so hard on Regress by myself that I don't even want people to be in my team. I'm like, I'm not gonna let Mike do 2 days worth of work in order to not have a game at the end, you know? It's like,
See, the problem is you didn't have your team there to help you.
That's right.
The thing about this though is that like, you know, whether or not the final product was like good or not is at least kind of irrelevant in my mind, because like I've been freaking kind of going ham recently on the game jams. And there was a jam, it was like a bullet hell jam. It was like this first jam this like 17-year-old dude started hosting, and there were like 40 entrants in there, and it was like holy shit. And I got in this big ass team of like 5 people, and we're waiting on the main programmer to get back from his like family like camping trip.
Mhm.
And it was like 2 days from the end, and he finally got home, and then he just said, hey guys, I can't work on this game, my fence blew down. And that was like the fucking end, and it was just like, dude, like what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like, oh man.
I definitely put in effort. I gave it the good old college try. I may have failed, but I gave it a shot. That guy,
Like that-
I don't know. He seems
showed
like
up to
somebody
class.
who didn't
It's just-
show up.
I don't know. It's just so much like, you know, there are times where like for Regress, to be perfectly fair, I wrote that, I like shat that out in 35 minutes because it was like the end of the game jam, and I just gotten home from hanging out, and I was like, I gotta freaking make something fast.
Yeah.
But I feel bad about that, but like that is so much better than just like I don't know, like fucking sitting on my couch and staring at where my TV is supposed to be, but I don't have one.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you're doing something, and that's so much better than like fucking not.
Somebody buy this man a fucking TV. It's the 21st century. Like, you can get a 40-inch HD TV for like $70 and he doesn't have
I don't know. I can't commit to it. I could freaking go out and buy a TV right now. I just can't I can't commit. You know, it's too much.
It's too much. Well, if a TV is too much commitment for you, let's have this guy on your game jam team. Let's plan it weeks in advance. Commit. No, that's funny as fuck. But GM48, I honestly think I'll probably end up doing it because I'm itching to do it. The thing that might stop me though is Ludum Dare is next weekend, the following weekend. And I didn't want to bring it up too much because this is supposed to be like a weekly podcast and that's slightly out of the scope. But in this context, it might be the thing that kind of keeps me from doing GM48. I could do both.
Hype Ludum though. Hype.
Yeah, they're both pretty hype.
The Ludum Dare is the game jam. Like if you're gonna do one game or two game jams a year, I guess because it's bi-yearly or whatever, or semi-yearly. I don't know how that works, but I think it's semi-yearly would be the proper terminology. But it's twice a year, and if you're gonna do just one type of game jam, I think Ludum Dare is the one to do. Like it's the one that the community gets most involved in. There's a lot of bigger name players who start to do their own games and will like stream reviews of yours. Me and Sanea would do reviews of Ludum Dare games, and that was always some of my biggest viewership on Twitch. And I think it's just because it's such a well-known jam throughout the entire world. And Game Maker Studio or GM48, since it's just limited to Game Maker Studio and people hate Game Maker Studio or hate on it, at least they hate on every engine, but there's a lot of, anytime you limit something to a specific engine, you're gonna have less involvement from community, you're gonna have less people getting down on it, and people certainly go ham for Ludum Dare, and that one's kind of the one that I would prefer to go ham on. But if you care about ranking, obviously TFX was talking about how doing it is like a reward within itself. But if you're competitive like me and you want to get like high rankings or get well rated with your game, it might be easier for you to get a higher ranking in a smaller pool of players. So that's like the positives and negatives for GM48 and Ludum Dare. But I may do both, I may do neither, but I'm planning on Fuck you! Fuck you!
Wow, that was...
All right, we like I'm literally gonna have to cut that out of the video. There's no way I could do that.
Who still has ears here?
Yeah,
just
like
have a
there's
scream alert, like have a counter tick down until the next scream.
yeah.
Freaking YouTube video.
Eki, why not do both?
Why
I
not do
realize it's a lot of time consumption, but
Yeah,
I mean,
that's-
if GM48 is kind of like, I mean, you already know you're only going to put in like half your time to it since you have other responsibilities to this weekend.
Yeah.
It'd still be a good opportunity to kind of like scope out who wants to join in and like who can actually be helpful over the course of a weekend. And then like this can kind of be a practice round for Ludum Dare. Just get our team together and then go ham on next weekend.
I'm anticipating not having many new faces trying to join us for the jam. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, and we can assess that tomorrow. I think would be the only day we really have to assess building a team or gathering people together for GM48. But my anticipation is that it's going to be pretty much the same people that we've had, and I know who is reliable or like what I can expect reliably from each person because we've worked with them in the past. But if you're somebody new who wants to join in and do something with us, then yeah, I think it would be a decent idea to bring them in and work with them a bit. But I also think it might not do them justice if I'm not putting in full like jam effort.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it makes sense. But I mean, then again, even if you're putting in like I don't know, 10 hours throughout the course of a weekend, that's still a bit of time. We could just keep it to something simple.
Yeah, if I would, actually, I have a competition for you, Professor Claps, and anyone else out there listening who wants to. 10 hours. We do a 10-hour jam. We do GM48 in 10 hours, and submit it for GM48. And you do this by yourself. This is a solo 10-hour jam. And whatever, like, I will give away our first currency point or whatever for whoever in the community is rated like most upvoted. We can post it in our announcements after the jam. If anyone's interested in that, I'm down for a 10-hour jam.
Tiny ones. Yeah, let's host some freaking 8-hour jams.
Mm-hmm. I actually really want to
30-minute
start hosting. I'm not kidding. I want to start hosting like even smaller jams because I think that a huge barrier for people in general. Professor Claps, doxed again, can attest to this. But
somebody's knocking on my door.
Yeah, they're like swatting you already.
Jake,
you're the only one named Jake in America. It was easy to find you.
Wow.
I'm doxing him even more. I'm gonna just keep like breaking down details about his life more and more throughout the podcast until eventually you like know everything about him. So now you know Jake from America.
There's gonna be somebody down there taking notes.
Definitely, Mike is. But it's really difficult for people to acquire skills because they think so far into the future. They think like, I want to be able to do this, but that task is very daunting and they can't break it down into really, really digestible portions that are easier to accomplish. And so I think the main benefit of doing like a 10-hour jam or something like that would be you have this grand idea. Like obviously 20% of that is going to be spent like coming up with an idea. You come up with this grand idea and then you exercise that skill of being able to break something down into a doable task, and then you do that task. And I think that's one of the most underrated and should be highly valued character traits in life in general, because that is kind of what allows you to continually improve and stay away from stagnation.
Just kind of an idea that just came through my head. Something that would be cool for us to do is instead of hosting like an entire game jam in our Discord, we could host like a game topic jam where we kind of like give people parameters and then they have to come up with like a document for a game idea and how it would fit those parameters.
Yeah.
And then
sorry.
we can vote on one and then spend like 2 weeks making it happen.
That's literally the exact same thing that what's his name? Pirate Software. He did Heartbound, I think is the game that he did. I'll have to look it up, but he just had a very like that is a smaller version of what he just did, and I posted it in our Discord. So I'm going to say that you probably didn't have this idea originally, but
I didn't look at that at all. Actually,
but he literally hosted a week long. He announced it, and then they had a week to submit to him game design documents. Him and whoever helps him on the game development side streamed the review of like the documents, and then they're choosing one, or probably have chose at this point, one document, and then they're not going to build it for them, but they're offering like their services to help guide them to publishing that game within a month. So that was kind of their jam. It was a game design jam, and then they're offering help and support through the rest of it, but they're not like doing it for you. I think for us, since we're I think his community is a lot bigger, it would be easier for us to do something where we actually make that game. Like people from the community make a bite-sized, really, really, really bite-sized game, and then if they have the skills to help or don't, doesn't really matter. We just kind of like put it out there for them, or like make it for them, and then they can do whatever they want. I think it would be a cool process to go from start to finish, especially if we start in the design document phase and then kind of stream through that. And it would be really cool for somebody who may not have the skills or who hasn't gotten a complete game, even if it's a super small game, they haven't made a complete game, to kind of see the realization of like something in their mind actually showing up on the screen. No big deal. So we lost TFX for a second, but he may be back in a bit. If you guys are watching this live, which is not many of you, and you are
It's just Uzam and his 7 tabs.
Yeah, who's on 7 private tabs, and Mike, who's drunkenly passed out on his computer desk, who are in here watching. But if you guys want to jump into the voice channel for Nighttime Lobby, we will enter into the QA section at some point pretty soon, and we'll be bringing people in to kind of ask their questions or provide some comments about anything that we've discussed in the podcast so far, or maybe even things that we haven't.
Yeah, guys, help me convince Eki to drop all of his other obligations for this weekend and do a fucking game jam.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm gonna type out a little message for the Discord too, but you could probably expand on, like, I mean, we wanted to have a small general section for kind of common gaming, right? Like not all Nightmare Games related or game design related stuff, but because we're all gamers too. So you've been playing a game for a week or multiple
Emphasis
games.
on the gay part.
Yes, very, and we all are. But what have you been playing for like the last week, and what's been in your mind when you sit down to play a game?
Oh God, you want to know what I've been playing?
Yeah, what have you been playing?
Fuck. I played a lot of City Skylines, actually. I like strategy games.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I like simulator games, but Cities fucking Skylines. I tried it like a year ago and was just like, but then I tried it again this week, and it is a fantastic game. I grew up playing SimCity 2000.
Hell yeah.
And stuff like Roller Coaster Tycoon, like all the original Sim games, and like they were so much fun. But SimCity, not SimCity. God, what's the game called?
City Skylines.
City Skylines. Yeah, literally just left my brain right there. City Skylines did to SimCity what Planet Coaster did to like Roller Coaster Tycoon. Made it all look beautiful in a 3D world. And it's fantastic. You get to see your little village grow into an expansive city. The only problem is traffic is really fucking hard to deal with.
Oh yeah, it's so bad.
Yeah, that's why the podcast was late.
Yeah, exactly. If only people were better at City Skylines, like it wouldn't have been late.
Seriously.
But I get to a population of like 25,000, and then all of the intersections are just jam packed with cars, and people are retarded. It's actually a really good life simulator because you'll be following a train of cars that are backed up, and then at the front of it, there's just one car that's like horizontally taking up 2 lanes and holding everybody back. It's exactly how people drive in real life.
I would pretend like I was listening to that, but I was AFK. So
Oh darn it!
I could hear you talking.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I mean, it's basically what everybody else is doing right now too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what people are just gonna do with this podcast in general.
Aside from that, Risk of Rain 2 is out in early access, and it's really fun.
Yeah, I was thinking it's pretty much the same vein. You were talking about a 2D game that was ugly as shit from like 15, 16 years ago. And now, I mean, that's an exaggeration because Risk of Rain was like 6 years ago or something, maybe even less. But it went from 2D to 3D, and the original game was fantastic. I'm kind of a 2D like pixel art guy, so I really, really liked it. But the Risk of Rain 2 in early access, 3D now, it's a over-the-shoulder third-person shooter, and it is really, really, really good. Like really good.
We can do that for a game night sometime.
Yeah,
I can't agree. It's some good shit.
How many hours have you played TFX?
Actually, not that many.
Hmm.
But I've sunk a ton into the original
Yeah.
Risk of Rain, and like when it my friend told me that it dropped, and it was like a 2-for-1 sale. Like you buy one and you get
Yeah.
and I fucking bought that shit immediately.
Yeah.
And the only reason I don't play it anymore is because my fucking friend isn't around to freaking play the game with me.
Solo is pretty fun, but I do think that like playing with a group, especially like a group of 4, is a lot better. Especially
really
if the
hard.
group you're playing with is better than you. Because playing by myself, I'm like, oh, I'm doing it, and then I die. And then, but playing with a group, and then I do the same thing, and at least 3 other people are still playing.
Every game of League of Legends.
Yeah, literally.
It doesn't matter what you do.
Yep,
It's entirely up to the people around you.
that's right.
But for those people, you're fucking them over.
Yes, that's exactly right. And I do that consistently. And speaking of that, we can touch on it. League of Legends will be a commonly reoccurring game that we mentioned in the general section. And I have finally found a rune set and build that I like on Elise that I think is actually strong. Before I would play mid Elise to meme, and it was like I kind of made it look strong in lower elos where people are terrible, but I actually think that this might be pretty strong. And what it is electrocute with you run the extra penetration after dashes, seeking eyeballs, and then ravenous hunter, and then you go sorcery second tree. The key is mana flow band, and then with it, I actually don't know what I do. I think I do more damage when I have over 70% health, but the mana flow band is the big one because I rush Gunblade now, Hextech Gunblade, and what that allows, instead of delaying my spike to Ludens, which was my mana item before in my different build, I now can go straight to Gunblade, and that as a first item is absolutely ridiculous. I think that's why Akali is kind of so annoying, because when she gets Gunblade, she can crush you, and she doesn't have mana, so she doesn't have to worry about the problems. But Mana Flow Band kind of masks the mana issues as long as, of course, you're playing relatively intelligently, and now you can duel ridiculously well and sustain ridiculously well. So
yeah, the synergies with her kit and that item are really good because the item it's like an extra ability, just an extra damage ability.
Yep.
And does that one apply the slow like Blade of the Rune King?
Yeah. So gun you start off with you can start off with whatever, but the Cutlass is a portion of Gunblade, and Gunblade's active will do a pretty decent chunk of damage and provide a slow. The slow will help you land your cocoon. If you land your cocoon, you will most certainly land the rest of your damage. So it's got really good synergies. And then you were talking about even more, the Spider Form W. Any damage done by your spiderlings actually heals you for a fraction of that damage. And Hextech Gunblade, damage that you do heals you as well. So if you go Gunblade, maybe even Zhonya's Hourglass, I think is usually like a third item of mine situationally. You can queue onto people with spiderlings, W, in spider form, then press Zhonya's, and while you're in Zhonya's, your spiderlings still attack. And so you can actually heal up while in Zhonya's and do decent damage with Gunblade and the W active. So
nice.
I wouldn't say it's good. Like, I mean, it isn't like it isn't OP meta. We're gonna pick it up like somebody's gonna be playing it in professional. But I think it's actually good enough. Like I'm not inhibiting my chances of winning by playing it now, but I'm not like playing meta OP, you know? So there's like a difference.
Do you want to try it out in a game?
Oh, of course I do. I mean, I have, if you check my match history, Eki is just Eki, not Eki Yakov, is my League of Legends gamer
also
tag,
we have
but...
Mike.
Yeah,
Mike
is waiting. Lobby. Yeah, he's going to come in for the QA, which is coming up very soon. But I'll touch on the rest of the things really cool. You look at my match history, though. Since I started building Gunblade first item, I played 6 games on Elise, 2 of them being ranked, and I haven't lost any. So that could just be the general swing that we were talking about, where you only actually make an impact on 20% of your games, and I'm on an upswing. Or it could be that the build's pretty good, but I think the build is pretty good because the way it feels... to me, being a pretty experienced Elise player, it feels better, like way better. And because I pride myself on being like one of the best mid Elise players of the 3 that there are, I think I have a valid opinion, right? I think I have a valid opinion on it. No, I'm a dick to everybody because I'm just an asshole. And lack empathy for other human beings. But the Elise thing is totally unrelated to that. And also unrelated to Elise, I think Rumble mid is ridiculously OP. I was playing that before I came up with the Gunblade build on Elise, and was playing it into like, you'll see a lot of Zeds and like Cassidans and like Talons and things like that. But honestly, it plays pretty good into anything but poke. So control mages, mid-range mages, and melees. Rumble destroys them, and it's really, 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 really good. So I recommend picking that up as a more... Like, that one I actually think is OP. I don't think Elise is OP. I think it's, like, viable. But I think Rumble mid is OP.
On the Elise, can you outburst somebody like a Zed in the mid lane? How does that trade or exchange work for you?
Sure. So, like, matchup specifically, the Zed is not that bad. At level 1, you outtrade because I start the W. W in human form is the volatile spiderling, so it's like you throw the spider and it blasts for AoE damage. And in spider form, it's your attack speed steroid and a little bit of healing. So at level 1, if Zed walks into the minions, which he will to auto attack at some point, you stand in the minions with him, blast him with the W in human form, switch immediately, press your W and start auto attacking him. You'll win that trade every single time. Like, it doesn't matter. You just win at level 1. I don't know of many, like Darius is probably a better level 1 champion. There's a few better level 1 champions, but most mid. Level 1 for Elise is really, really good, and that's where I get a lot of advantage. Level 2 is pretty good too into Zed, but levels like 3 through 5 where he has Shadow available, I think Zed is OP. I think Riot agrees. They nerfed him this patch, and I haven't played that matchup specifically this patch. But he's ridiculously strong, and you need to be careful because if he hits you with his full damage, I think his damage comes out faster, therefore he will kill you. But after level 6, you have outplay ability with repel. So if he ults you, you can repel. You're up in repel long enough that he won't have time to get his damage off onto you. And another thing with the matchup is building into Zhonya's, especially with Gunblade, like Zhonya's second, maybe even Zhonya's first, is really not that bad on Elise. So it's a pretty natural build to counter Zed that way. I wouldn't say it's a good matchup, but it's fine. And any melee, like it's pretty solid into. I started playing mid Elise because I hated Fizz, and I wanted a counter pick for Fizz. Fizz isn't played that often. I actually play Fizz a lot now, but it is a hard counter for Fizz because of how predictable Fizz's damage is. It's in the Playful Trickster and it's in the ult. And you can dodge one of those two extremely reliably. And so if he doesn't get that, you'll outdamage him over time because Elise's sustain damage is pretty damn good. And you win a lot of those matchups. So I recommend like trying it in a normal game and giving it a shot. But another like just philosophy while we're on the general gaming thing is like when you're playing normal games or like playing new things, play aggressively. Like your team's gonna hate you. Like don't hard int, but like play aggressively because you want to be able to learn the limitations of the champion. And I think like forcing yourself into more difficult scenarios is going to make you learn a little bit faster. So if you're picking up mid Elise, I would suggest playing aggressively, but if you get shit on the first couple times you play aggressively, don't play recklessly, play aggressively. So if you fall behind 0-2, stop feeding as best you can and let your team do something. But also it's normals, who cares, like move on. What about you, Jake?
What about me?
How's your League of Legends been going?
Don't just play one champion for 2 seasons, because then you think you're good at the game, but you were forced to play something else and you suck.
There you go. One tricking is good for what?
Solo climbing.
And?
That's like if you have to compete against people who are better than you, I mean, you can at least compete on that one champion. But if you're put into a situation where you can't play that champion, and you don't know how to play other champions, you're just kind of fucked, you know?
Yeah. I think it's good because you learn the mechanics well enough that they become second nature, and then you can start thinking about other things in the game. If you're constantly like learning new champions, it's hard for you to think about some of the many other things that you need to consider while playing League.
Yeah. And another thing is like when you only play one champion and you like kind of get in the mentality of, okay, this is my champion, all right? I'm in control. I'm going to fucking dominate right now. If you're in that zone and then you start feeding, you get really tilted. You're like, what the fuck? Or you get complacent. You're just like, okay, I've got my champion. I'm going to win. And then you forget how to win.
That's right.
Or force things. I do that a lot on Yorick.
And the best advice out of all of this is just don't suck.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like the best way to win. Like if you're picking up Middle East and you don't suck, you just crush everybody. If you're picking up Rumble, don't suck, crush everybody. One trick Yorick and you don't suck, you crush everybody. So
exactly,
don't suck is overall advice. My next general thing, like I think I've been trying to get more active. The weather's getting hotter, and I want to be more involved with non-computer things, which may seem very foreign to anyone listening. But
it's really fucking foreign to me.
I highly
I used to ask you
recommend
all the time if you wanted to go to the gym or anything. You're like, no, I have no fitness goals.
I don't have fitness goals, and I still go to the gym. Like I was talking to the desk attendant at 24 Hour Fitness, and he was like, "What are you doing? Like, what are your goals for this season or what?" I don't know what he said, honestly, but it was he was insinuating that I should have goals, and I was like, dude, I have no body goals. Like I come in some nights, my girlfriend wants help like working out, so I will help her because I have a lot of experience in the past with athletic workouts and bodybuilding and things like that I have almost no interest in now, but still have a lot of knowledge that I can, I guess, give if people value it. And so I'll go and I'll help her and I'll do the workout while I'm doing that because I'm already there, so why not? And I will also go and play basketball. So the only thing motivating me right now is like my competitive urge to get better at something.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Elo, you motherfucker, he's got a squeaky toy. Right now it's golf and basketball are like the two accessible games that I'm trying to like learn or kind of get better at.
Wait a second. Why are you not climbing in League of Legends? You hit D3. Not D3?
D3.
G3.
G3.
Where's
40
G2?
LP. Let me like that is another thing that we were talking about with like, hey asshole, stop it. He was being a dick to me. But in League of Legends, because you only because you only have an impact on 20% of your games, right? Like 80% of the games are probably out of your control when you play League of Legends competitively. That means that if I'm climbing at 1/5 the pace I would if I was 100% effective.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're better at the game, though, you can climb quicker.
You can climb quicker, but it's still a insurmountable amount of time, right? Let's say that do you agree that you can, like, you have an effect on 20% of your games, or would you say it's a higher percentage?
I'd say
I'm talking direct, like you win or lose the game based on your performance in 1/5 of your game.
Every game. Okay, I get what you're saying because we've talked about it a lot. But I think every game you have an opportunity to impact. But the thing is, like, only out of all of those games, you might only be able to like positively impact at 20%. But that doesn't mean like, it's the same thing basically.
Yeah. All right, so we're on board with that.
Maybe a bit more than 20%. Maybe like 35% of the time you can positively impact something.
Sure.
But that's just like the possibility to, you know?
Yeah.
Because if you're playing against people who like are really like defensive and they won't let you get a lead on them while their teammates are destroying your team, then what can you do, right?
Exactly. So we're pretty much in agreement that like somewhere between 20 and like 40% of the time you are actually like able to, like, your performance is what is directly contributing to a win or loss. Elo, your performance is dictating my loss of sanity right now.
He told me the background. I can't handle it.
I know, me neither. Like, the people are gonna be like, "All right, you guys wanted to do a podcast, but then your dogs are fucking screaming into the microphone, and then like one of them's got a fucking squeaky. They're playing with a squeaky toy 3 feet from you. Like, who does this?" And the question and answer is, I'm the answer, and it's stupid, and I'm sorry, but it's kind of funny.
Honestly, listening to a podcast like this would be that'd be that lift my spirits a little bit.
Yeah, it's
somebody just fucking lose their mind on the podcast.
Except like the only problem is that you're there too, so maybe like
yeah, I'm in this hell.
Yeah, you're like, oh well, it's funny watching them like lose their mind, but I'm losing my mind too, and so maybe you get like a little bit of sense of camaraderie with that. But also, fuck that, that sucks. I don't want to be in that environment. But we'll power through it for this one. I'll see what I can do for the next one. Since I got home late, like I didn't have a chance to prepare these things. Oh, Ella stole it. She's the savior for now. So I'll go run through it pretty quickly. If you affect only 20 to 40% of your games, that means either every 1 game out of 5 or every 2 game out of 5, you being better than the other team or being better than your current ranking is going to cause you to gain a ranking. That means that if I want to climb ranking and it takes me 10 wins or so to climb a rank, I have to play 50 games where I'm better than other people in order to actually gain a higher ranking. And that is just way too much of a time investment for me personally. But from a game design perspective, it's beautiful. And I think that's why League of Legends is probably the most successful multiplayer game like ever. I don't know if that's a stat, but in my mind it is. It's because like that is an art in itself. Like keeping people playing your game, even if they don't consciously know that they're doing it for these reasons, is why there's so many concurrent players in League of Legends. And because there's so many concurrent players playing, people are getting their friends in, they get their friends in. It's like a huge positive snowball effect, and it's all kind of piggybacked off of you have to spend more time playing League to get better or to gain elo than almost any other game.
Yeah, and I mean basically this is just an important life lesson for everything though. If you're a competitive person, I mean you have to like focus that energy on something that's actually going to benefit you, you know. That's League of Legends doesn't fucking matter at all.
Nothing. Hey, I will counter that with nothing matters, and this is all a simulation.
But is getting to like Plat 4 going to be your yearly accomplishment?
Maybe.
Like, will that make you happy? Will you log into League of Legends, see that platinum border, and just like jizz in your pants right then?
Hey, Mike, what's up, dude? Hey. Welcome.
I feel like my stream was delayed because I just like took my League on mine. So.
I felt bad. You were in the nighttime lobby, and we're pretty much in the sign off / QA section. How's the first podcast been going for you?
Oh, I've enjoyed it. Apart from the League stuff I know nothing about, but
that's right. I figured.
Is this a section where we ask him questions, or does he ask us questions?
Oh shit! An interview.
Mike, where are you from? Mike, tell us about your sister.
What? You don't have to tell us about your sister or where you're from. This is a Q&A, and I guess I really wasn't specific on who would be queuing and who would be A'ing. But if you have Qs and A's for any of us, then I'm down to give some A's.
No, I didn't really think of anything. I just thought if no one else is going to come in, I'll say hi.
Yes. Well, we appreciate you coming and saying hi. Well, now you have to answer Professor Claps's questions then.
Oh, please do.
All right. Mike. Let me ask you something, okay?
Okay.
Where do you get off?
Well, that's an easy one. He's not muted, is he, Osman?
No.
Because I can only hear you, so I don't know if it's...
You can't hear me, Mike?
Yeah.
Do you have him muted? Like, yourself?
I can't see why I would. It's got a crossfade in mic, but how do I...
Yeah, like
right click.
Yeah, right click him and then
You can't hear me.
and then unmute him. Yeah, Claps was trying to tell you how to unmute him. But right
I'll
click
fix
his
it
name
now.
and then click it. All right.
They say something?
Mike, can you hear me?
Hey, I can.
Hey, there you are, you
That
Python
explains that explains wholeheartedly why you just like cold face ignored his first questions when you came in.
Literally, I was there and there's just silence, and I was like, okay.
That's funny as hell.
Sorry about. I have no idea why you were muted then.
Well, maybe you just don't like me.
Yeah,
That could be it.
I know.
A bad experience from a game jam a while ago, maybe.
Oh, maybe. Yeah, that'll explain all.
God, this guy's fucking annoying. I'm just gonna.
God damn it.
I'm just gonna mute him. All right, Jake. Now that he can hear you, fire away.
Yeah, Mike. Tell us about your sister.
She's older, lives in Scotland. Very boring.
All right, she's boring.
She's barring.
What?
Hey, you all sound the same to me, so
Yeah. Yep. We do actually sound the same. Like me and Jake
Over Discord, yeah.
sound really, really similar
That's funny.
over voice stuff. So that's not even like an American thing. That's just like a me and Jake thing.
So, Mike, you came in here, and this is the Q&A section, but Eki was asking you questions, and even though you couldn't hear me, I was asking you questions.
and
And
I
so
like all of them.
you liked all of them. Okay, that's good.
All the ones I couldn't hear were great.
Give them some upvotes. You don't have any questions for our lovely guest TFX, who has done multiple compositions for our games.
So I do have some questions for both of you guys. I mean, how eager are you to participate in another game jam?
I tell Eki all the time, when are we doing another game jam? And he always goes, actually, there's one coming up and I'm going to do it by myself.
Yeah,
Fuck you.
That's what we were talking about earlier. We were talking about GM48 this weekend, and I was like, oh yeah, Eki, let's do this. We can get the team together. And he was like, yeah, I might not have a lot of time, but then again, I might do it by myself. It's like, fuck. I can't do a game jam alone.
Literally, I came to the chat, and the first thing I wrote is, when are we doing another game jam?
It is. It's in there in the freaking Twitch channel.
It's right there. Maybe you guys can help me persuade Mr. Eki to get the team together for this weekend. Maybe just as a practice run for Ludum Dare next weekend.
I'm definitely down. Like, by the way, I know I was like wavering, but I've been planning on setting aside the time for Ludum Dare, so I'm like committed to that. I'm just not committed to GM. That's the one where I'm flaky. So
yeah, maybe we can just use this weekend to get our team together and figure out the flow of work, because I mean it's not a lot of time to make a game, and you don't want to waste any of it. So even if you're gone, we can just work on like set our goals small and then figure out the flow of everything for next weekend.
I think we got a decent, like, since we us four in here have experience with game jams with each other. I think our flow is good. I think the most difficult portion has been
telling Juan that we shouldn't be able to go anywhere in a cabbage field.
Yes, is very sternly rejecting all of Juan's ideas for the betterment of the game, and coming up with like the actual game. And I have learned my lesson from Regress on focusing on like the gameplay and not these weird like one-off things that really don't matter, specifically being my PTSD checkpoint system. I'm never gonna make a checkpoint system ever.
So short.
Oh man, that
45
was...
seconds with checkpoints.
No, dude, the checkpoints were dope. They just didn't work. And then
like, do you want gameplay or do you want fucking checkpoints?
Dude, I went off on those checkpoints though. Like I put in, it was a 48-hour game jam. I put in probably at least 8 hours of work on those checkpoints.
Yeah, goddamn.
So, I mean, if you want 40% of your game to be a checkpoint system, recruit me for your team, and you still won't have a checkpoint system.
Have either of you guys ever played a Game Dev Tycoon?
Yes.
No.
Yeah, so Saltmonger, you know how you can, like, you have the little sliders to determine what areas of your game you spend your time on?
Yup.
Well, we were in the game design section for like a platform or something, and Eki's just full on checkpoints.
Checkpoint
And
system.
you get a score of like 1 out of 10. Like, why the fuck did they focus on this?
I just
They
like
forgot to
that you
move the
you
game.
get an extra. You get one extra employee, and you fucking purchase them, and you sit them down, and you're like, your entire life is make the checkpoint system.
That's I did that to
Fucking
myself. I employed myself as that employee, and I dedicated
With no one
my
else to do anything.
and I dedicated my life to it, and it made our entire project fail. And
Should have just called it checkpoint.
yeah, and I know that's why we called it regress because
regrets because there wasn't any
there
progress.
wasn't any progress because I had a fucking checkpoint system and no game.
Damn.
But at the same time, Eki's like, right, we need to design this boss, right? It's going to be a great boss battle.
Yeah.
Let's have all the little bits we need all the art for. And then but you had like 2 sprites in the end.
Dude, I used 2 fucking sprites. I literally used 2 sprites, I think.
Oh
This whole
god.
sheet of character designs.
Oh man, yeah, that was bullshit. That was. You could tell that like I was just clouded. I was just so clouded by this checkpoint system or whatever it was. I was so clouded about it that like I wasn't thinking even remotely close to clearly. Like I was like,
Extreme tunnel vision.
like we could do like 7 bosses and they're all gonna be great and it's gonna be perfect. We have like an hour left and I'm still working on the checkpoint system. And I'm like, this is gonna be the best game ever.
A squirrel is to a dog as a checkpoint system is to Eki.
Yeah, so just don't mention that during our next game jam and I should be okay. I'm literally gonna shy away from like if
It's a
somebody's
bannable
like
offense.
we need a checkpoint system, I'll be like, no thank you. You will not we will not do a checkpoint system. You know what? If you even say any of the words checkpoint or system, I'm flipping the fuck out. I'm getting out of here. So well, that was the last one, so I need to recover from that. I think that might be a good thing to do with the GM48 if I decide to participate in that. Is it would be a good like bridge from being absolutely terrible from the last one to being like, at least I did something that wasn't a checkpoint system, and then Ludum Dare can be like a real attempt.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super down for Ludum Dare if anyone else is.
Yeah.
I'm
Because I don't
gonna
like
be,
you like to work alone.
We're committed to that one for sure. I think I'm just like I heard Game Jam and I heard this weekend and I was like, oh fuck yeah. And now I'm just like wanting to go, but might just be better to hold off till next weekend unless Eki wants to, I don't know, put in some time.
I will see if I can. I want to. I'm itching to do a game jam as well. It's just if I can realistically balance 2 weekends in a row with like Sanea not getting pissed off at me and like I really do have a few other considerations to be making other than just like, do I want to do it? So
Goddamn, hang on, real quick, Eki. I'm looking at your match history, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you told me to. The Elise games are solid, but you have a 44% win rate.
I know. That's because
Climbing.
No, I have a 44% win rate because I had literally a 18% win rate in the solo system in League. So when we had positional queue, I went 1-14 in jungle because I was hard inting for fun. Because it didn't matter, and then I went like, I don't know, a couple like 2 wins and 6 losses top, and so mid is the only thing that like I'm cared about, and so my win rate since the reset, or not even because they didn't reset it, but since the non-positional queue is at like 65% or something like that, but before that it was at like 20. So
yeah. Solid. Sorry to get us derailed there.
That's
back
right.
to all of us needing our fix for a game jam.
Yeah. So I'll communicate.
Yeah, there were some really good topics too. There was one.
I need to go vote. I'm gonna go vote for that while you.
There's one that really fit your idea.
Duty.
Mm-hmm.
There was one that really fit your idea of wanting to like be the villain, but like
I love that one.
It was like the exact topic. The topic was there's only one enemy, and this is the only enemy you need to defeat. and that fits the topic of like you are the enemy, you're the bad guy.
That design document hasn't been put out into the public, so let's not go too much detail into that one. But that's my fucking, like, what do you call your life's work? Like,
magnum opus.
Yeah, my magnum opus. That is it. It's gonna be that game, because that one I've been designing in my head for like 3 years, and honestly, like I think it's legit. I just need to make it, and I don't think a game jam's gonna do it justice. But then again, you could easily argue that like getting something out there and like on paper and like demoable is a really, really good first step to like actually making it.
Oh, absolutely.
In 48 hours.
In 48 hours. Even 48 hours. Like, we've made some sweet stuff in 48 hours.
For sure.
Like, seriously. And every time we do a game jam, this is another aside, but like now on Knightmare.games, which is our website, you can play most of the game jam games in the browser, like on the website. And I've always wanted to like have that. I wanted Knightmare Games to be a place where you're like, you can just go and play these shitty little games like Miniclip, you know? Like, I don't think we have much of that anymore. And I really wanted us and like the things we do to be that. So every time we do a game jam, it's another attempt at like putting a shitty little game on our website. And that excites me.
I just got onto the website and the tab says my site.
Where?
Do you have a link for this?
If you put
Nightmare.
Yeah, I'll post it in Twitch chat as well. It's just Knightmare.games.
I'm going. It says my.
Oh, it is
site.
Knightmare.games. Okay.
Where? I don't see that.
Up at the tab, the actual tab.
Oh, whoa, that's weird. It says my site like as the tab name. That's dope. I wonder. That's really.
I'm
good.
sure there's a setting or something in there, but you should just put in the logo and then Knightmare Games.
That's really funny that it has no logo and just says my site. Like, hey, last call is live now on Kickstarter. If you guys haven't supported, fuck you.
I think that's just if you click on Spark though, it says Spark, and then like Plumbo does it.
It does everything
that's
except
an HTML element. I think you just gotta like adjust the header real quick.
Yeah. I'll do it. I didn't realize that. That's pretty interesting though. Well, live bug debugging and bug fixing brought to you by Nighttime, the podcast. Pretty awesome stuff. Thanks
we can
for
talk about that name a bit.
Nighttime. I like
Nighttime.
I like it.
Thursday night.
I'm gonna Thursday night. That would only kind of restrict us to Thursdays, and although it's good for like awareness purposes, people go, "Oh yeah, Thursday night." Like, I'll watch it on a Thursday. We're not consistent enough. It's just not going to work out.
Night, Friday night.
Yeah,
I think it works for any day of the week.
No, dude, it doesn't.
Only Thursday.
I like nighttime. But well, maybe I'll come up with a logo. I was kind of messing around with one. Obviously, the thing that's showing in the Twitch isn't ideal. But
Just chatting.
I thought it would work. I thought it would work for now.
I really like that.
Thank you, TFX, the composer, the musician, the madman himself, for being our first guest, and Mike, thank you for being our less honored and distinguished guest.
More foreign.
But more foreign. That's
more
true.
emphasis on less honored and less distinguished.
Yes, but more emphasis on more foreign.
I think it's because he's foreign.
Oh, okay. No, they can like knight people over there and stuff, and they still have a fucking queen. How cool is that?
Yeah, they've had the same queen for like 300 years.
I know, dude. She's ancient.
And Brexit is going so well.
That's well. All hail the queen. Good stuff. So let's see. Let's do the sign off. You got any? Do any of you have anything else you'd like to get off your chests for this podcast?
Just on like the topic of discussion of like him being foreign and everything. It was just kind of like a shower thought type thing, but like those people who were in England, who were like English, they've been there for thousands of years, right?
Well,
but like, where did the people originally come from, and like Maybe we shouldn't get into it right now, but
I don't think that's a good general topic for like another podcast because we could go off on that for a while. But I don't think that's good for right before the sign off.
yeah, sign off. Neanderthal talks.
Bitch don't know about Pangea. All right. Thank you guys for being here. That'll do it for tonight's episode. Thanks for tuning in. Night night. Sleep tight. Don't let the bed bugs bite.
Fuck.
I know.
Oh man.